Hello, Kensington readers. Okay, so I don't know if you're excited, but I'm super excited because we're going to start book clubs. Yay! So, your I can statement for today, which you are not writing in your writer's workshop or reader's workshop notebook, is I can talk longer and more powerfully about books being part of a fifth grade book club. These are the printables which will not go in your reader's workshop notebook. So, creating a club constitution. These are things that you need to consider when creating a club constitution. This is an example of a club constitution that was created by fifth graders. So, what will you call your club? What will your rituals be? In other words, what are your ways of working? These stars are their examples of rituals. How will you plan your reading? Number of pages, chapters, or chunks of the text. How will your club plan and organize writing about reading? So these are some choices of writing about reading. Post-its, which would just look like when you come to your book club, you have post-its in your book. And so when you're talking in your virtual book club or your face-to-face book club, you have things already prepared beforehand that involve writing about your reading. Then you could do letters, like letter to the editor or letter to the author. I really thought it was awesome when you did this, or when Keck had to experience that, whatever your main character's name is. During book clubs, I'm going to be referring to Home of the Brave as my book club book. Okay? Then forms of writing. Oh, we're already talking about forms of writing. You can also do notebook entries. So just like we did our stop and jots last week or earlier this week about character perspective, or maybe you came across a word that you were having difficulty with, so you just jotted it down, what comes naturally, or maybe there's a skill that you learned about in fourth grade that you're like, ooh, this would be the perfect time to practice that. Go ahead. You can jot about anything that makes sense and is connected to your book club book, if you're doing like stop and jots. Okay, maybe you want, or yeah, maybe you want to do a chart or a graphic organizer. That would be something that you could do inside your folder, inside your folder when it comes to your book club book. And so this is your calendar for your reading plan. Now, virtual students, we are working on getting those books to you. They are in the process of sending them to Kensington. These will be books that have not been touched by students, okay? And they will be coming, I'm thinking they're going to be coming Friday, okay? Which means you might not want to start your reading plan, which is why I included 3 weeks, because people who are coming person to person or face to face, they're all doing their book club day on the day that they come to class. Okay, so hopefully we'll have those books available to you Friday to come by the school and pick it up. Okay. Um, and then you can start your reading on Monday. The goal is that if all books are in hand by Monday, everybody will be finished with their reading by Friday, October the 3rd. Okay? Now, there's a lot of information that's coming up. I am having a hard time keeping up with what it is that I'm supposed to do. So, on your book club day, you have book club tasks. Virtual students will meet with their teacher and they will go over how to do a book club chat in a chat room inside Teams, okay, and what those expectations look like. But on your book club day, when you meet, whether it's virtually or whether it's face to face, your goal is to set up a book club folder, okay? Set up a constitution with your book club members. Draft a reading plan based on pages and chapters And you can use that calendar that I gave you, write it in pencil, because when you get to sit down with your book club members, virtual students, when you get to face on Teams, you may have to tweak it a little bit because, for example, first of all, how do you calculate the number of pages that you're supposed to be reading so that you can be finished with the book in 2 school weeks? Okay, well, there are 10 days and 2 school weeks. And so I go into my book and I look for the absolute last time that the author writes about the characters. I have what's called an author's note. Okay, she's still writing about Keck in that author's note. So I want to make sure I include that. Some books have epilogues and things like that. And this is advertising another book that Catherine Applegate wrote. That's not part of my nightly reading. Okay? And then they have like a reader's guide. That's not part of my nightly reading. And then they have award winners, and that's not part of my nightly reading either. So you want to go to the last page that the author talks about the character, which in this book is 253 pages. So then I'm going to divide that by 10, and that's going to be about 25 pages a night. However, when I go to page 25, page 25 is the first. It's the first page of the poem, Goodbyes. I don't want to read one page of a poem and leave the rest of the poem out. So since it's the first page and not the fourth page, what I want to do is our reading plan should reflect that we read to page 24. Page 24 that first night. And so 25 and 25 would be a total of 50. So my second night, I want to make sure I make up for it, and I want to stop on page 50. And just as luck would have it, 50 is the last page of the last poem in part 1 of Home of the Brave. So here on page 51, you see part 2. So then when I get to my third night of reading, I want to be on page 75, and as luck would have it, page 75 is the last page of the poem, Cattle. And so that's what you want to consider is you'll start with how many pages a night, and then you may have to modify it a little bit when you guys get into the group. Maybe you're going to have to read less one day and more another day, which is why I want you to focus on the page numbers as far as your reading plan and not the minutes. Okay? You should be reading your book club book every day, and you have your independent time to read, and then you also have your nightly time to read. Once you've set up a draft of a reading plan, then you need to get with your book club members, and you guys need to decide what kind of roles you want to play in the book club. Everybody needs to have a job that they would come and share maybe once or twice a week in their meeting. Okay? Actually, let's do once a week since that'll make it easier. We'll do it once a week. So you're going to meet once a week and you're going to do some kind of job. Okay? So you'll either be the word finder, the summarizer, the quotable quoter, figurative language finder, anything, graphic organizer, character follower, or character analyzer, whatever it is that you guys want to do that you think would be awesome, that would include writing about your reading. Okay, so everybody's going to have a role, and they're going to do that role once a week. And they're going to share those roles out when they meet with their book club members. And so our Plan B students will be doing that on the day that they come into class. And our virtual students will be doing that on their book club day that they meet virtually. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Make sure that you've got all these tasks set up. There's no guided practice. There's no independent work time. You guys are collaborating today in your book clubs to get these tasks taken care of. Until then, any extra time that you have, read on.